Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, we take a look at my magenta and rainbow jackets.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
So I've been documenting everything that I've made so that I'll know what to make next. And I did an episode where I did hot pink and red, and for some reason I didn't put these two Chanel magenta jackets in there. I decided to do a separate one for magenta jackets, so I started a storage box and put them in, and there were a couple of fabrics and I was like, yeah, this is going to go well, but there ended up being not actually that many. But yeah, then I sort of just swooshed in the rainbow ones as well. So anyway, not really sure you needed all that backstory, but I bought 2 meters of this Chanel fabric from Paris, and it's ages at least. Gosh, this is one of the first Chanel fabrics I ever bought. This and the green Chanel tweed, they were issued, they were from the same collection, so I bought both of them, and I bought enough to make 2 jackets out of each of them. So one has a fringe, which I made myself. I bought all these different wools and yarns and cut them up, and I've got a whole episode on how you make fringe. It's pretty much as you would think. You just I used a picture frame, the wooden part of a picture frame, and just sort of wound it around that and then cut it and then stitched it onto the bottom of the jacket. I'm not sure how to bead them though. One will probably be magenta and one will be sort of more purpley brown beads, I would imagine. This is also a Chanel tweed and I absolutely love it. It's summer weight, so it doesn't have much wool in there. It's got sort of more, the base is cotton and then it's got all these other things in there as well. It's got tiny little sequins in red and there's also some in pink. So yeah, it's just the most beautiful complex mix of colors. There's like pale pink and then a mauvey pink, white, creamy, sort of ivory white, and as I said, those neon red tiny miniature sequins in there. It's amazing. And as you can see, it's unfinished, so I still haven't set the sleeves. I do have some fringe which I'm not going to use around the bottom, so I was thinking about using it on the shoulders, but I'm not sure. It's a little bit tricky to do, so that's why it's still not done. But yeah, I'll probably do maybe white and pale pink beading on that one. But I also love the fluoro red, so maybe I'll feature that as well. This one here is another Chanel from New York City, and it's just multicolored and white and hot pink, and it's just magnificent. First, I was going to do, when I bought it, I was still doing beaded trim on everything. So my original plan was to make the beaded trim for this one in all the colors but white. And I had the tiny little toys that you buy from dollar store, and like for a couple for $1. I was going to stitch them all on, but then I sort of went the opposite way because this jacket originally had fringe on it, which was a spare bit of the fabric with all the white bits taken out, and I really did not like the fringe, so it put me off the beaded trim, and I was like, no, I'll just do it white. So I've done the beading on most of the jacket, and so now I have to either machine sew the lining in, then finish the beading around the neckline, or hand finish the neckline, do the beading, and then hand stitch in the silk lining. Both of them are a bit tricky, each in their own way, so it's still not done. I just keep doing something else instead of finishing that one, even though it's so close to being finished. Anyway, next is a Snow White jacket, and I beaded it with this small jar here of beads, and I didn't like them. The jacket is so aggressively white, the white parts of it are, and it's got silver in there as well. And when I beaded over the white squares, I don't know, it just looked so much duller than I expected it. Like I expected it to tone down a little, but not a lot. So I'm going to do clear glass beads on that one, I think, because I just love the tweed, but it's so thick that it needs a little weight from beads. So I think that's what I'll be doing. This one, I know it's not rainbow colored or particularly colorful until you look really close. So yeah, it's going in the rainbow one because it didn't really fit in anything else. I suppose I could have put it in the red, the video of my red jackets. But yeah, it's just a lovely complex tweed, and it's got so many different colours in there. It's pale blue, some navy and white yarn in there that's you often see in Chanel tweeds. And then it's also got this sort of weird purple in there as well, but not like a full-on purple, more of a, I don't know, browny magenta purple, strange colour. Anyway, so I still haven't decided. Actually, maybe clear glass beads on that one as well, because it needs the weight of some beading, but it doesn't necessarily need colour, so perhaps. Anyway, next we've got the, it used to be the Pink Monet, and it's a Linden tweed from Linden Tweeds in the UK, not sponsored, but everyone always asks. So this one is, Linden Tweeds is still there. They've got an online store. They don't have the tweeds, like they make a tweed, and occasionally, very very occasionally, they will reissue a tweed, but most of them are unique, and that's what I love about them, because I make my own clothes firstly so that I can actually have something that fits, but also to have something that's unique. So yeah, I did show this in the pale pink collection, but since then I've taken the beaded trim off, because as much as I love that beaded trim, and there is a video of me making it step by step, there's one video for me making the jacket step by step, and then there's another video for me making the beaded trim step by step, which is, oh my gosh, so much work goes into making beaded trim, but it was just too big, and I know if I just embellish this, so bead it all over the jacket with just small light beads, it will be one of those jackets that I wear all the time. So yeah, and the silk lining that I showed you at the start is all different colours. It's amazing, the piece of silk. European designer fabric stores often have a remnant section, or they have a sale once or twice a year of their remnant fabrics, and they are just these gorgeous, extremely expensive, very high quality fabrics, but they only have, and everything on the remnants table is always 2 meters or less, and which is just over 2 yards. I got this amazing one, and it was much less than it was, and yeah, it's an Italian silk in beautiful beautiful colors. So I think the beading that I do on the pink jacket will be inspired by that. This is another Linden tweed from, gosh, maybe 8 years ago or something, and it's hot pink and metallic orange and mustard. It's really, I don't know, I guess it sounds hideous, but I like it. Yeah, I like the clotted bits of the hot pink magenta coloured yarn. It's really interesting, and it looks so much like a vintage Chanel tweed. It's like, I mean, it probably is, considering Gabrielle Chanel used to get some of her tweeds from Linden Tweed, and they've had the same people working there for decades and decades. And as you can see, I did a sample for the beading on the back, and I do like it, but I worked out how many beads I have and how many beads I would need, and I need 2.5 times as many beads to do the entire jacket as I already have. So, and the point of me, I'm trying to use up my bead collection, not find an excuse to buy more. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll keep a sample on the front and a sample on the back and do a different type of beading. But then I remembered this Christian Lacroix jacket, which is this colour, the jacket, and it's got a gold collar. I'm not going to put a collar on this, but I do love the idea of this colour jacket with gold beading. So I think I'm going to carefully take off the beading that I've done and just do gold on this, and I might do that style of beading on a different jacket with different beads, where I actually have enough seed beads to finish the whole thing. I do have a lot of gold seed beads, so maybe if I mix the ones I was going to use with gold beads, maybe then I'd have enough beads. Anyway, the next jacket is one I made a year ago. Not this December just past, but the one before, and I'm trying to decide how to bead it. It would look cute with that rainbow of small beads, But what I was thinking with this one is that I bought this tweed from Etsy. It took forever to arrive. And a lot of the fabrics, a lot of the yarns in there are really, really lightweight. Like there's some tulle ones in there. And there's these sort of really lightweight ribbons. So it looks like it's bulky, which it is. It's bulky, but it's lightweight because they're so, lightweight. So it does need quite a bit of beading. So it has sort of squares in the weave, sort of make it look like it has squares, which made me think of the dragonfly jacket, this one here. And I was thinking that I could do like one bead per square because this bead mix was so much fun to make. I got out all these beads, made a big old mess. Yeah, I really need to KonMari my bead collection. Anyway, so I could do either all beads or half beads, half sequin with a small bead on top, which would be slightly lighter. So we'll see. I think I'll make up a bead mix of I don't know, because it's got the scarlet strong lines in it, but it's mostly pink and cinnamon and mint green. So I'm not sure what to do with that one, but I do really love it and I want to wear it. So I've got to finish it. This one here, I don't like the vertical stripes. I intended them to be horizontal. It's an amazing tweed. It's inspired by a tweed from an actual Chanel collection, the Woman's March one, where they were all wearing like tie-dyed 1960s things, and bits of the tie-dyed silk are woven into this tweed. And as I said, I wanted it to be horizontal, but the tweed, the way it was cut, the pieces didn't fit. So I went with vertical stripes, which I absolutely hate. But up close, it doesn't look so stripy. But looking at this footage, I just don't like it. In retrospect, if I just cropped the jacket a little, I could have cut them horizontal and then it would have looked like a vintage knit. But yeah, with the vertical stripes, it doesn't look at all like a vintage knit, which was why I bought it in the first place. But I intend to do loads of beading over the top third, and I think that will rectify it. Anyway, next we have, this is the one inspired by Comme des Garçons, which is a fashion brand that shows in Paris each season. And one time they had like actual Dutch master prints, so lots of big old-fashioned flowers. And they had this fabric, they had coats and big dresses, and well, I mostly make jackets, so I made a jacket out of this fabric. It's from Fabworks in the UK. Everyone always asks, this is, besides my tweeds, this is the fabric that gets most asked about. So Fabworks in the UK, again, not sponsored, and just go to their upholstery section, and they had a lot of double wide fabrics like for curtains, and this is what I used. It's just incredibly beautiful. I don't think they have this one exactly, but they have some very similar and they're really beautiful. My problem with this is the reason it's not beaded and finished is that I've got tiny shoulders and a pretty small head as well. So it's very big. It's a fabulous silhouette and it totally looks very Comme des Garçons-ish. But if I alter it, take the sleeves off, alter them slightly and put it back on, I would wear it more. So I'm not sure whether to do that or not. So that's why it's still unbeaded and not quite finished, because I'm not sure. I love it the way it is, but I would wear it more if it was slightly toned down. So we'll keep it in the unfinished pile for now. Next, we have a couple of fabrics that didn't really fit in any other collection. There's still the navy blue collection and the black and white collection, and I think you haven't seen the grey and silver one either. But apart from all those, these are ones I either forgot from other collections or just didn't really fit in anything else. So this is magenta khaki with specks of orange and white in there. It's kind of conservative but also very fabulous, and these ones are pretty classic as well, hot pink, whites, and that one's got some ribbons in there as well. This red one is inspired by a Chanel couture fabric from like 2017 I think, or 2018. This is another one. This is a Chanel one, but it's not quite a meter. it's like just under a yard or something. So I'm going to have to use 2 fabrics to make that jacket. This one, I think I've already showed you this. It's a Liberty fabric and it's got musk flowers on a hot pink magenta background. It's fabulous. And I've got enough for 2 jackets. So one's going to have pink beading, one's going to have black beading, I think. Then we have a rainbow tweed from, I think that one was from New York City. This one is from Linden Tweed, and I bought it because it is all the colours from The Wizard of Oz. There's metallic red ruby in there, which, I don't know, oh, you can see it at the side. And then there's the blue of Dorothy's blue and white dress. And then there's yellow for the Yellow Brick Road. Anyway, so I thought I've got these tiny poppy sequins. So I thought I'll make that and put the poppy sequins on it. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll make it and then we'll see. This is snakeskin and it's like that PVC fabric that you have for an outdoor tablecloth. It's hilarious. Anyway, and then I've got 2 different colourful tweeds. I've got it in the hot pink colourway and then I've got it in the green colourway. And I like the green one better, but because green is my favorite color, but I like both of them. So I think I'll probably make them up at the same time and do them like as if they're Tuesday, Thursday jackets. So I don't know, either do the same beading in 2 different colorways, or I'm not sure. And this fabric here is a cotton sateen and I've got 2 yards of it, big, but it's also a fashion width, so it's really wide. So I might be able to get 3 jackets out of that one, which would be ridiculous. But it's got loads of colours in there, so I'll just bead them all different ways. And apparently I'm going to live to 150. And these fabrics, I think I showed you this one in a beading video. The red one, when I remake my Barbie jacket, I think it's going to be on red felt rather than that metallic hot pink one that I used. And then this fabric, I've already showed you this, and I've decided that I'm going to, after the success, I've really, really loved how the Paris jacket and the grey floral jacket turned out with the chandelier beading. So I'm going to sort of do the same thing for that. Now this fabric here I bought right at the end of the year. I had a voucher and I was like, I've got to use it up. So I bought enough fabric to make 1 jacket, but it's fashion width, so it's white. And so maybe I'll make a jacket with a matching handbag for that one, or maybe I'll make the jacket with green beading and then the handbag with magenta beading, something. I don't know. Anyway, this jacket here is made using the Berta 6123 pattern. I think it's the first time I used it with tweed, and I absolutely love how it turned out. It's a rainbow tweed and then rainbow and white, and then I just embellished it all over. It took me about 2 weeks to make this jacket because I was stuck on calls like, all morning, all afternoon. But usually if I'm in big meetings and I can turn my camera off because I contribute, like I'm clearly still listening and clearly still contributing, so they don't complain. If you're lazy, you have to leave your camera on all the time. But yeah, so I'd beaded for 2 weeks. And it looks amazing. I absolutely love this jacket because from far away, it doesn't look like any beading at all, but it just glitters as soon as you move because there's just so many different sequins on there and they've all got little different angles. The light catches it. It's just, I don't know, it's just mesmerizing. I absolutely love it. I do sort of wish I'd bought 3 times as much of this tweed, made 3 jackets, and then with one I could have used the fiery colors. With one I could have done this mostly white with a little bit of silver in there, and then another one I could have done like rainbow, all different colors, because it's just, I love it, but the tweed just still has so much potential to me. Here's the vintage knit jacket. So this is what it looked like on the inside, and it's in the magenta ones because I don't know, I just think of this one as magenta and Kelly green. And yeah, oh my gosh, this jacket I think is the jacket that has taken the most time to bead out of all jackets. I mean, the Tempest jacket, I beaded it, took some beads off, beaded it again, then I didn't like that either. So then I carefully had to take them off, and then I beaded it the third time, was lucky. And there's a lot of beads on there. So that one did take a long time, but this one, the beads are so tiny that I think, and I just sort of did it in every now and again over a 4-month period. So it just feels like it took so long. And this one, I think you've already seen the Barbie jacket as well, but I don't know, it just seems very magenta-y to me. And I think I'll probably put more magenta seed beads in it than time that I redo it. It's going to be a while, a year or two before I redo it. But I look at it, I just see all the sections that I could do better, like the sleeves. I think what I'm going to do next time I make this is it's a 2-part sleeve, which means that you get more mobility in your elbow, which is awesome. But I think if I made it a 3-part sleeve, then it would have a center seam. And so you can't just move the seam, because you need the seam where it is at the moment to get the bit that makes it easy to bend your elbow in your sleeve in a fitted jacket. But if I added an extra seam in the sleeve, then what I could do is butterfly the jacket. So make the jacket, then carefully unpick the center sleeve seam and the center side seam, and just lay it flat on my desk. And that way I could do the beading so much better on the sleeves, because I made the jacket, then decided to use floral beads on it. So each bead that you do on the sleeve, you have to have one hand on the inside taking the needle, and then you have to have one hand on the outside holding the bead and using the needle from the outside. So it's super, super tricky. And yeah, the sleeves are not perfect. But yeah, I just kept sort of adding stuff. But now that I know what it can look like and how I would improve it, I can think about it conceptually, like as a whole, and then build the base layer of flowers, then build the second layer, the canopy of flowers over the top of the first in a much better way. I kind of just like looking at it and going, I could do this better, I could do this better. Anyway, so eventually I will remake it, but it's staying the way it is for a while because it took so long to do. Speaking of taking forever to do, this is the Kandinsky jacket. I was looking at an online fabric store, and this is a decorator fabric, and it's a synthetic velvet. So it's not the most expensive fabric in the world, but it's really, really dense because it's a decorator fabric. People are supposed to be able to sit on it for if you cover your chair in it, they want it to last for like a decade or whatever. So it takes beading really, really well because it's such a dense fabric. So it is tricky to bead into or to sew because it's so dense, and it's not supposed to, so that was challenging. But once I got the hang of it, it was good. And I just love the splashes of colour. It reminded me so much of Kandinsky paintings, particularly the 5 in Museum of Modern Art in Manhattan, New York City. I have a separate episode that's a beading tutorial, and I got out 10 or 11 jackets from my collection, and I went through and showed you how to bead each of them. So this is the last one because it is extremely complex. I guess if you just wanted to do a pretty little, those embroidery hoop, if you just wanted to do something to hang on your wall, that would be relatively easy to do. But doing this style of beading on something that you can wear is really tricky, just because you have to understand the idea of weight and counterweight. So it's basically you do a short string of beads, then a long one, then a short one, then a long one. But as I said, you have to have the right type of fabric. You have to have enough structural layers backing it. You have to use really, really robust fabrics in each part, and then you still have to bead in layers. You can't just do all the beading at once. So I did like in some sections there's 3 layers of beading. So the first layer just looks awful and too sparse and just ridiculous. It's so ugly. But you have to have faith, and then you just do another light layer of beading, then another light layer of beading, then another one, and you just keep going. You just have to be so patient, and you have to really understand conceptually what you're going for. Then you have to sort of divide it in 3 or 4, depending on where it is in the jacket, how much it's going to move, how much weight you're thinking of adding. So there's a lot involved, but to me, that's interesting. It makes it more of a challenge. And yeah, I love it because none of the colours really go together, but I don't know. I love them. Anyway, that is it for all the jackets. I think we do a little highlights reel where I show you. Oh, I'm so close to finishing this Chanel, and it's got so many pretty colours in it. Not too long ago, I did actually come across, I was going through my boxes of beads, searching for, I think it was those long green bugle beads, and I came across the white beads, the rest to finish that jacket, and I promptly put them somewhere safe, and I can't remember where they are now. So I'll have to find the white beads and finish that jacket because it is a beautiful jacket. Oh, speaking of jackets I want to bead, this one, I really love the idea of, I really enjoyed making the dragonfly jacket. So I really, really like the idea of doing a dragonfly jacket, but a pastel version of it. That'll be quite cool. And this Comme des Garçons one, I think I might just leave it hanging somewhere until I decide what to do with it. My rainbow sequin, I had a massive jar full of sequins for that one, and I only used up half the jar. So I have to make a jacket that uses up the other half of the jar. And my Barbie jacket, oh, she's so pretty. Imperfect, but pretty. And the Kandinsky, one of my all-time favourites. This is one of those jackets I don't think I'll ever get sick of staring at. Well, you know, how many minutes of footage did you just have to sit through? Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've been inspired to make some unique, fabulous garments for yourself. All that hand stitching does take a lot of time, but it's totally worth it. Having something that no one else has and that fits you exactly, it's awesome. Happy sewing.